Good morning, Ultimate Hustlers and Digital Empire Builders. It is that time for the Cortez Hustle Show. And today we're kicking off another book review. We're going to dive deep into the 5 pillars of leadership because leadership, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, is the principal thing. I am learning that more and more in every area of my life. Where things are not going well, it is because of poor leadership. Where things are going right, it is because of great and solid leadership. So hustle on in here, man. Click that like button, click that share button, comment in the chat the name of your business and or your brand, and let's get ready to kick it this morning. Yo, what's up, Ultimate Hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, everybody's favorite SaaSpreneur, coming to you live and direct from the Local Biz Marketing Pro Studios right here in St. Louis, Missouri. If you are a local business and you're trying to dominate your local market, you're trying to become the best known in your particular industry category and service area, then I need you to go to localbizmarketingpros.com. We're going to help you optimize your online presence, increase your lead flow, grow your revenue so you can expand your operation and ultimately contribute more to the communities that you serve. localbizmarketingpros.com. We got a free online marketing checklist that will help you get underway. And then, of course, you want to hire us, then all you got to do is reach out and we'll be happy to serve you. Today, we're talking 5 pillars of leadership. This is one of the books that I'm reading. I've actually just finished this book, but I'm going to dive into some more leadership topics because I'm starting to understand as I grow this multi-billion-dollar, multinational media conglomerate, I'm not going to be able to make it without solid leadership skills. So as you guys know, everything that I am doing for me, I turn around and share it with you guys. So as I'm learning leadership, I thought we'd dive into some leadership topics together. And that way I can hold you accountable to becoming a better leader. You can hold me accountable to becoming a better leader. So we're going to lay the foundation of what this book is all about. So do me a favor, comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and all your brand. Tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your own leadership skills, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, be honest with yourself. How would you rate your leadership skills? I'll tell you, if I have to do it in totality, I would say based on where I want to be, I'm probably about a 4 in my leadership skills. So that's why I'm studying this today. So let me know in the comments, what do you rate your leadership skills right now today versus where you want to be? A couple quick announcements before we get the show started. For those of you who are in the local St. Louis area, put a link in the comments for Kicking It for a Cause. It's a networking event and conversation around things that are in fact affecting and impacting our communities. And we are solutions focused, and we want to talk about what can we do to make things better. So I put that link in the comments. That is hosted by the Hood Talks podcast. My girl Vanna over there, as well as Patrice and Alan. They do a great job once a month bringing folks together to have real conversations with real people about real solutions. So I'll be in attendance tonight. Excited to see some of you guys live and in person who listen to the show. And we've never met, but if you want to meet me in person, then I will be at the event, Kicking It for a Cause. Click on the link, get all the details, address, date, time, all of that is right there in that link. Also, don't forget, if you are struggling in the area of your marketing, if you will find yourself on an island as an entrepreneur because people in your family don't understand, you don't have people in your life that are other entrepreneurs that you can connect with, relate to. My girl Denise talks about having a business bestie, right? Get you a business bestie. Join our Facebook group. The link is in the show notes and in the comments. Join the free Facebook group, Local Biz Marketing Mastermind is the name of the group on Facebook. I post inspirational content, tips, strategies to help you grow, but also there's connections. There's other people who are starting to kind of feel more comfortable with posting and sharing their thoughts. It's not a spam fest. It is pure value-based tips and strategies to help you grow as a marketer, to help you grow as an entrepreneur, to help you grow as a person, and a safe place for us to have conversations about business. Also, I just released the Google My Business 3.0. It is our newest version of Google My Business marketing strategy training guide. For less than $10, you can download this guide instantly, get your Google My Business profile updated and optimized so that you can get free traffic, leads, and exposure from the world's largest search engine. I don't think I put that link in the comments or in the show notes. So let me drop that in the comments for you right now. Google My Business is the best platform for small businesses trying to make noise in their local area. This is something that I have neglected, right? I've literally had people who have worked with me, and one of the first things they say is, man, I didn't even know you was in St. Louis. And I'm like, man, I am slipping on my pimp and I have got to do better. And chances are some of you guys are the same way. Don't let the internet take you global and you are not doing anything local. I'm going to say that again. Don't let the internet take you global and you are neglecting your local community where you live, where you eat, where you shop, right? That should be a foundation for you. And that's one of the things that I am learning. That's why I am making a concerted effort to do more in my local community, including uploading and updating and optimizing my own Google My Business profile so that more people in St. Louis can know that they have an amazing servant leader here to help them grow in the area of their business. So let's officially start the show, man. Y'all know how we do every show. We start with a quote of the day. And today's quote says this: a great man is hard on himself. A small man is hard on others. And that is from the mind of the great philosopher Confucius. A great man is hard on himself, but a small man is hard on others. Ladies and gentlemen, do not confuse this with not holding those around you accountable. We've got to do that, but be harder on yourself than you are on other people. Be more willing to point the finger at yourself than you are about blaming other people and what they are or are not doing, especially when it comes to your success. A lot of times we will put the responsibility of our success on other people by blaming other people for getting in our way, hating on us, trying to stop us from discouraging us. All of those things, man, miss me with all that crap. Be harder on yourself than you are on other people. Now, those that you love, those that you care about, still hold them accountable, right? Challenge them to be the best versions of themselves at all times, But don't be one of those people that every time you look up, every time I turn around, you are bashing, you are down, and you are all on somebody else's case. But then when we put a microscope on your life, we see that you let you get away with subpar effort. You let you get away with not performing your best. You let you get away with procrastination. You let you get away with self-doubt, negative self-talk, right? Don't be harder on your on other people than you are on yourself. That is, ladies and gentlemen, the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by Local Biz Marketing Mastermind. If you need a community to be a part of, where you can learn how to optimize your online presence, increase your lead flow, grow your revenue, expand your operations, and contribute more to your communities, then Local Biz Marketing Mastermind is a free, let me say it again, it is a free private Facebook group where all we want to do is see you win, 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 no matter what. We're creating a safe haven and a community where it's okay to ask questions about business. It's okay to seek for help. It is okay to talk about what you're struggling with as an entrepreneur so that we can all help one another get to the next level. Local Biz Marketing Mastermind right here on Facebook. The link is in the show notes and in the comments. So even if you're watching on YouTube or listening to this on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever, the link is in the show notes. Join the private Facebook group. We have tons of fun. I am putting together the schedule for the rest of the year for our live meet and greets, where we're going to literally be coming together to just talk and get to know about each other. And really, hopefully, you can develop or find an accountability partner, a business bestie, someone that you can lean on as you pursuing your goals in this space of entrepreneurship. So let's get into 5 pillars of leadership. Read this from cover to cover for the second time. I've read through it probably a dozen times or so. But when I tell you that if you want to transform your life in any area of your life, start looking within. Start looking to yourself and your ability to lead, or your inability to lead, and start making improvements there. And I promise you, you'll start to see improvements in every area of your life. Being a better leader in one area actually permeates through other areas of your life by default. So this is a great book by Randy Slechta and Paul J. Meyer. And it just goes through the 5 pillars. So what we're going to do today, this is going to be probably a 6-part series, but we're going to lay the foundations of what effective leadership is. And here's what you got to understand. If you want to be successful in business or career, improve your leadership skills, right? How many of you guys work on a job right now where you're probably a better leader, more of a leader than the person that is getting paid to lead you? Come on, talk to me in the comments. Some of us are on jobs right now where we are better leaders, more of a leader than the people who are actually getting paid to lead us. Keep doing that. Keep growing your leadership skills, because I promise you it's going to pay off. Where effective leadership begins. The current state of society demands even more of leaders and requires that the quantity of leaders increase along with the quality of effective leadership. Society can no longer afford to be surprised by the depth of social and political change. In decades to come, we will depend upon leaders at every level to chart a course toward a brighter, more positive world. That leader is you, y'all. That leader, my friend, is you. We must accentuate the good decisions and find a way to reshape the bad. That, in essence, is the challenge of effective leadership. Accentuate the good decisions. And I want you to think about yourself personally, right? Because the first person that you lead is yourself. And this is why we got to come to the conclusion that everyone is a leader. Everybody is a leader because we're all responsible for leading ourselves. So, in your own life, you've got to pay attention to accentuate the good decisions that you are making in your life. One of the things that we do not do enough of, even myself, I don't do enough of this. We do not pat ourselves on the back nearly enough. And we are making some amazing changes. We are helping to change the lives of people everywhere we go. We are 10 times, 50 times, 100 times better today than we were even just last year, 10 years ago. But we do not celebrate that enough for ourselves. So you got to accentuate the good decisions and find ways to reshape the bad decisions. That is the challenge of effective leadership. The only real way to win over the trials we face is to meet those challenges with qualified, understanding, value based leadership. It's the only way we're going to win. Life is going to continue to throw things at you. The question is, are you going to be able to lead yourself through the adaptations, lead yourself through the necessary transformations that's going to allow you to cope with those continuing changes? If leadership cannot help us solve our difficulties, what can? John F. Kennedy once noted, our problems are man made, therefore, they can be man solved. That's interesting. And to that point, there's another quote that I like to live by. And this is what helps me continually press towards personal growth, self development, intentional evolution, right? Because whether you want to or not, you're going to evolve. Whether you want to or not, you are going to change. The question is, are you being intentional about it, right? And the quote says this: if the person that you are today was capable of getting what you want out of life, you'd already have it. Oh, that's a slap in the face, punch in the gut to some of y'all, right? Because it was the same way for me. When I heard it for the first time, what you mean? I'm a great business owner. I can build me $1 million business. No. If the person you are today was capable of achieving those things that you want to achieve, you would already have it. What that means is you have to look inside and say, who do I need to become in order to have those things? And I'm telling you right now, today, you need to become a better leader. I don't care how great you are as a leader right now. If you are lacking any area in your life, the solution, the answer is to become an even better leader. Leaders hold in their hands the power to right social wrongs, point organizations toward success, and bring society back onto an even keel. Effective leaders carry with them the hopes and dreams of millions who wish only to become more than they are. Somebody that is connected to you right now has their hopes and dreams in you. Could be your spouse, could be your children, could be your coworkers, could be your subordinates, could be your friends, your neighbors, could be your church members. Here's the thing, you don't even know. There's people in my life that I admire. There's people in my life that I look up to. There's people in my life that I aspire to be like, and they don't even know me. If they only knew how I see them, they don't even know me. And the same is true for you. And those people are either subconsciously or consciously waiting on you to win at a higher level so that you can inspire them just a little bit more. Oh, you got to take responsibility for your presence on this earth. Either you're going to allow your light to shine, or you're going to become a shadow. But either way, you got to be responsible for that. Effective leadership is needed, is indeed a noble pursuit. Anyone can become a leader. Anyone who has the will and the courage to step forward, accept challenge, and begin helping others transform themselves has what it takes to be a leader. Anyone, right? Everyone is a leader because you got to lead yourself. Even if you are only leading yourself to find a great leader to mentor you, to follow. Everybody is a leader, right? So I hope y'all don't mind me getting a little fired up, a little riled up. My wife is often in the other room when I'm doing the show. And sometimes after the show, she says, "Why you in there hollering at them people? Who you in there hollering at? I thought I was going to have to come in there. It sounded like you was in there fighting somebody." Right? But this, to me, is the difference between where I am today and where I'm headed. So forgive me for being a little passionate, but we're going to pick up there in a second. We've got to get into some 1 minute motivation. For those of you who are new to the Cortez Hustle Show, every episode we do something called 1 minute motivations, where we play a short motivational video, usually 60 to 90 seconds or so. And I ask you if you're capable and able and willing to comment a takeaway or two. I'm going to give you a couple of my takeaways. So let's get into some 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show.
I'm going to tell you what God has given every person under the sound of my voice. He's given you a dream. Dreams motivate us. Dreams energize us. In all of your getting, get a dream in your life. Get it from God, and then you become unstoppable. A dream is the inward picture of the future you desire. And don't underestimate it. And don't act like it's not important. And don't act like it's not spiritual. God is the giver of dreams. And when God is going to do something in your life, He'll give you a picture first on the inside of where you're going before you ever get there. And He says, live into that dream.
You know, when God gives you a dream or a vision for your life, it's not something that you can just get away from. It's like it's there to stay, and you're either going to do something about it or you're going to be pretty miserable.
Sometimes it feels like it's just some idea that can never happen. Sometimes it feels like a distant dream. Do you know that even with your imagination, that you are serving God? The Bible tells us, one of my favorite scriptures in Ephesians 3:20, it talks about how God is able to do beyond all that you can ever ask, think, and imagine. God can go beyond that, exceedingly, abundantly, far above all of it. You may feel like you're just sitting down and all of a sudden you get lost in this idea of who you truly are in God, and you think that you're just daydreaming, not recognizing the Holy Spirit is dreaming with you. The Holy Spirit is actually showing you the truth of what is possible and what is able, what you are able to walk in because of your relationship with God.
Hoo-wee! Oh, gives me chills when I hear people talk about dreams. I don't know about you guys, but how many of you guys, when you see somebody walking in their gifts, when you see somebody performing in the majesty of their talents and those things, and does that move anybody in a special way like it does me? Like, I watch basketball because I came up playing the game but really, I love to see people in the majesty of their gifts and talents, right? I'm a big documentary guy. Last night I watched the documentary. Netflix has a series called Untold, if you guys don't know. And I watched the rise of Christy Martin, the the woman responsible for putting female boxing on the map, right? And I had no idea about her story, but to see people walk in their gifts, it just moves me. That's why I will forever be connected with encouraging people to walk in their gifts, whether that is through entrepreneurship, whether that is through service to your community, whether that is volunteering at church. Do yourself a favor. Find out what God put special on the inside of you and spend the rest of your life tapping into it and honing whatever that gift, that talent, that skill is, and using it for the glory of God and his kingdom, man. Everybody has a dream. And if what the video said is true, that dream was given to you by God, then guess what also is true? Everything that you need to fulfill that dream, you already have. There's no way, I don't know about you, but there's no way that the God that I serve says, I created you for a purpose, yet I'm not going to give you any of the tools or the resources that you need to execute on the one thing that I created you for. I just don't believe that. I just don't believe that. God created you for a purpose. He keeps revealing to you the purpose in your dreams, in your visions. He keeps showing you what's possible for you. I do not believe that God would do that and then not give you what you need to make it come to pass, will not give you what you need to fulfill the call on your life. Here's the challenge though. It is the start that stops most people, right? And a lot of times you will never discover that you have everything that you need to fulfill the dream on the inside of you until you get started moving towards that dream. It's just the way that it goes. It's just the way that it works. Until you start moving towards it, you will never realize that everything that you need is already inside of you. The tools, the gifts, they're already there, right? Keep God first, and he can do more than you can imagine. As a kid, I was in Tupelo, Mississippi, living with my father and my stepmother. And because my father worked 2 jobs, right? I used to get dropped off at daycare, and he had to be at work so early that I was often the first person at the daycare. Before any other kids, I showed up. It was just me and Mama Christine, right? And because he worked the second job, I was also often the last kid to be picked up. So as I look back on it now, being the first kid at 5.5, 6 years old to be at daycare before any other kid shows up, and I didn't have nobody to play with but myself, I was able to develop this super vivid imagination, right? And being the last kid, so after all of the kids are gone, their parents that came and picked them up, I'm there by myself, and there's nobody to play with but me. I developed this crazy imagination. Now, there's also some trauma that helped me develop that imagination as well. See, by that time, I had already been neglected, abused, and sexually molested. So, with that early in life, one of the ways that I coped with the pain of that trauma is by going into the recesses of my imagination. And when I tell you that my imagination is something crazy, right? The things that I see, the things that have been revealed to me, the things that I can conjure up in this head of mine, it's bananas. But watch this. God's word said that even as wild as my imagination is, even as far as I think I could see, he can still go above that, beyond that, right? He can even, as big as my imagination is, he can still do exceedingly above all that I can think, ask, or even imagine, right? God is not showing you those visions, those dreams as a way to tease you of something that you can't have. No, he's showing you that these are the things that you can have if you get plugged in and you stay connected. My wife is very good at keeping scripture in front of us. In our bathroom, we have the scripture that says, I am the vine and you are the branches, right? If you abide in me, you will bear much fruit, but apart from me, you can do nothing, right? And I love that she does that, because I keep seeing these scriptures and I just have to keep reminding myself that as proud as I am of what I was able to learn and self-taught in a lot of these areas and all of this kind of stuff, like it makes me feel good. I feel a sense of pride and fulfillment in what I do. I got to remember that it ain't me. It's the plug-in, right? See, I'm learning that I'm not the plug. I'm not the plug. I'm not the plug, right? And when you can put your ego in your back pocket and realize you are not the plug, I'm not even plugged into the plug the way that I should be. I'm just next to the plug. And if you've ever worked with electricity, you know that sometimes you just get close enough to the source and the electricity will jump on you. It'll arc is what they call it, right? And you can get some power just from the arc. Imagine how that grows 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 fold when you actually plug into the source. Just saying, man. I'm a little fired up this morning. That, ladies and gentlemen, hey, Fiona, she says, it's the start that stops most people. Love that. Thank you so much for engaging. Let me know if you guys got some favorite quotes or motivation that you guys like, and I'll try to incorporate those in the show. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by the Black Bear Success app. If you are in business and you are not texting your customers, you are in business and you are not using email automation, if you are in business of any kind and you do not have a CRM, you are not using pipelines, you don't have a good calendar booking app, you got to check out the Black Bear Success app. It is the all-in-one sales and marketing solution for Black-owned businesses that literally gives you the edge that you need to compete in this global marketplace, right? You guys know that the marketplace is no longer local. We are in a global marketplace, and the only way that you can compete with these national brands, if you have the right tools and resources, blackbearsuccess.com. Go check that out. We're talking about leadership today, man, and we're going to be talking about leadership for a while, because that's just where I am in my life. This show is me talking to myself out loud, and what I'm learning and teaching and studying for myself is leadership and Brendan Burchard's High Performance Habits. So that's what I am. And maybe after we finish talking about leadership, we'll talk about high performance habits. But right now, it's leadership. Effective leadership isn't about playing God. Instead, it focuses on the God-given potential inherent in every man, woman, and child. Proven leadership finds the potential hidden within a person and brings it forth. That's what this thing is all about. How do you find those things that are hidden within the people around you and bring it out? That's the measure of leadership, right? Those who believe leadership is for business or politics are simply contributing to the problem by refusing to acknowledge that they must at least lead themselves. If we don't lead ourselves, we will always be subject to the winds of societal change, finding ourselves more poorly prepared to confront each new assault. Sometimes we resolve to think that leadership is for our boss, it's for the CEO of the company, it's for the president, it's for our senators, it's for our representatives. No, man, you are responsible for leading your doggone self. And I know the temptation is to bury your head in the sand, because if I bury my head in the sand and I don't take any responsibility for the problems in my life, I always have somebody else to blame for the problems in my life. And that's where some of us are with ours. We want to always have the scapegoat of blaming somebody else. So we won't step into leadership, because leadership is responsibility. Leadership is accountability. Leadership is self-awareness. Leadership will ultimately lead me down the road to having to admit to myself that I made a bad move there. Oh, that move cost me. Oh, I've got to make up for that. I led us down the wrong road. I made a wrong turn. But here's the thing. Just like when you give someone else the power to make decisions that will cause you to be in places in your life that you may not want to be, when you take responsibility, you not only take back the power and the responsibility and the accountability to not be able to blame anybody but yourself, you are also, though, empowering yourself to make the necessary corrections and adjustments to fix your life, right? My girl, Nikisha D. Smith, talks about entrepreneurship and business a lot. And she hit me with this quote one time that floored me. She said, if you give someone else permission to feed you, by default, you also give them permission to starve you. Oh, I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. When you give someone permission to feed you, you also give them permission to starve you. What does that mean as it relates to leadership? When you put 100% of the responsibility on those who are leading you, you give them permission to lead you to the promised land, but you also give them permission to lead your butt to a dead end. You've got to learn how to lead yourself, ladies and gentlemen. A couple quick things, and then I'm going to give you the 6 areas of focus. I think there are some questions here. Yeah, I think I'm going to give you the 5 elements of achievement, and then I want to, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. So let me run through this really, really quickly. What happens when we invert the pyramid? No, that's not what I wanted to talk about. Leadership may be many things, but there are also many things leadership is not. It is not a title. It is not a position. It is not a particular style. It is not a particular set of personality traits. It is not a particular set of skills. Leadership is a lot of things, but don't get it twisted. Because you got a title doesn't make you a leader. Don't get it twisted. Because you've got the skills that many leaders possess that don't make you a leader. The problem is that the environment in which these organizations operate is constantly changing, right? No, that's not what I want to do. Let's go into the 5 elements of achievement, right? Because that's, at the end of the day, that's what leadership is about. It's about achieving things through the help of other people. The elements of achievement, also the 5 pillars of leadership, are easy enough to understand and practice. The problem is that they are not universally taught to leaders, and most often they are not, they're ignored altogether. Any leader familiar with the process we've developed over the past 4 decades will recognize these elements immediately. Element number 1, define the specific results you wish to achieve. You got to define the results that you want to lead. Yeah, man, that's the sign of a true leader, Mark. Leaders create more leaders. Leaders don't create followers. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. Leaders have followers, but good leaders create more leaders, right? How do you know a tree? By the fruit it bears. If you're a leader, then you've produced more leaders, right? If you think about, I use a football analogy a lot, because you will hear people talk about the legendary Hall of Fame coach Bill Parcells, right? And then you'll see 6, 7, 8, 9 head coaches that have come from the Bill Parcells leadership or coaching tree, right? Probably the most notable and the most famous is Bill Belichick, right? But then Bill Belichick has his coaching tree. He's got 4 or 5 people who have been head coaches that come out of his coaching tree. He's got dozens other that are in other coaching positions and leadership positions that came out of his coaching tree, right? Leaders create other leaders. Element number 1, you got to define specific results you wish to achieve. Element number 2, you got to create a plan that will, when followed, will achieve those results. What do they say? Proper planning prevents poor performance. Sometimes it's not about the desire or the results you wish. It's about the plan that you created to get it. Number 3, develop the internal motivation necessary to take the actions. This is so rich. Like, so many times we'll have these great ideas, right? In fact, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough talks about this extensively in his work. He said the average person in America, with all the freedoms that we have, all the access to resources that we have, he said the average person in America gets 4 ideas every year that, if they would only act on them, will make them a multimillionaire. How many of you guys can testify to this? Over the course of your life, you've had an idea, what I like to call a digital download from God. All you had to do is start taking action and you'd be a multimillionaire today. But you didn't act. And then 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, you see that product or that service on the market, and the company behind that product or service is a multi-million-dollar brand. Come on, who's willing to admit, I've had this idea, I didn't act on it for whatever reason. I was too young at the time, I was too old at the time, I was too broke at the time, I was too busy at the time, whatever reason, we didn't act on it. We look around 5 years later and that product or service is on the marketplace. And we like, man, I thought of that 10 years ago. Don't matter that you thought of it 10 years ago. You didn't do anything with the thought. So you got to find the motivation to act. And I can't stress this enough. It is in the action of the first few steps that the other steps start to reveal themselves. But it's like I heard on my motivational tape this morning as I was listening to, I listen to YouTube as I'm working out and running in the morning and that kind of stuff. And the question was asked, are you willing to sprint if you don't know the distance? Are you willing to sprint if you don't know the distance? Now, one of the things that I'm learning to love to do is to run, right? That's just something that has always been a struggle for me, distance running, right? But I also heard Mike Tyson say discipline is doing the thing you hate to do, but like you love to do it. So I'm learning to love to run, right? But distance running is just never been my thing. And when you set out to do distance running, a lot of times we say, I'm not going to run my hardest because the distance is so long. I got to reserve something. Well, in the time and space that we are in right now, and the ability to create mass wealth for ourselves, for our families, for our communities, you got to be willing to sprint, even though you don't know the distance. If I told you we was doing a 10-yard dash, yeah, you'll bust out and sprint because you're like, man, I can handle 10 yards. I can maintain top speed for 10 yards. That ain't the question, though. The question is, are you willing to run hard and fast, even if you don't know the distance? You got to figure out how to develop the internal motivation necessary to take action. In the business, we call that your why, right? WHY. What hurts you? Use that as motivation. What haunts you? Use that as motivation. What has you up at night? Use that as your motivation. What helps you sleep at night? Use that as your motivation. Right? What hurts you? Use that as your motivation. Number 4, build the belief and confidence of yourself and your team members so that everyone performs at optimal levels. This is a key component, a key element of leadership. As we dropped my son off at school the other day, he went down a day before us, and he got a chance to play some pickup with some of his new teammates this year. And he's excited as basketball players. You get, even though you don't know what the other teams have, on their roster, when you start playing with certain players and you notice some upgrades in your staff and your team and that kind of stuff, you're like, oh man, we're on to something here. And he's like, Dad, we got this guy and this guy, and this new freshman came in, and this guy comes back from last year. He's even better than what he looked. So he's having all these things. But I've always taught him, he's a point guard. I said, you know what it's all going to come down to, though, right? And he said, yes, sir. Leadership. And the way I've always defined leadership to him, and even for myself, is getting people to do what you need to have done, but because they want to do it. I want y'all to hear me. One of the definitions of leadership that I love is your ability to get other people to do what you need to have done, but because they want to do it. So in his case, he needs his big man to pull down 12 rebounds a game. He needs to have that done in order for them to have a successful season. But he has to get the big man to want to do that. He's got to get the big man to want to do that. Because the only reason any of us do anything is because we feel like it, because we want to. So as a leader, he's got to figure out, what buttons do I push to make my big man feel like leading the league in rebounding? Because that's the only way we're going to win. I'm getting what I need to have done, but I'm doing it because I'm making him feel like wanting to do that thing that I need to have done. That's the true mark of a leader. Because as long as he feels like doing it, it never feels like job. It never feels like work. I never have to get on his case about doing it. I just got to figure out what buttons to push. Number 5, instill determination so the team does not quit when confronted by problems or obstacles. Wait, what? How do you get your team to buy in at a level that when the going gets tough, because if you are doing anything great, the going is going to get tough. The road is going to get bumpy. If you're doing anything of any amount of significance, the going is going to get tough. But how do you instill a sense of determination in those that you are working with? How do you get enough buy-in that when things get tough, they don't quit? That's your job as a leader. When they run up against things that they don't understand, when they run up against obstacles that they think they are not equipped to handle, when they run into challenges and obstacles that make them want to quit, what have you as the leader put in them to make them say, you know what? Nah, this ain't gonna stop me. Nah, I'm not gonna let this hold me back. Nah, we didn't come too far now. That's your job as a leader, right? Real quick. 5 reasons why people fail to achieve. They lack determination and quit before success is achieved. They lack a sincere belief that they can achieve the desired result. Number 3, they are not motivated to take action. Number 4, they lack a plan. They have no real understanding of how they intend to succeed. Number 5, they don't know what the results they are trying to achieve. As they say, when you aim at nothing, you hit it dead center every single time. Part 2, 5 pillars of leadership, going down on Monday, right? Today is Thursday, so y'all know what tomorrow is. Tomorrow is Free Game Friday. We answer your questions live right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. So Free Game Fridays tomorrow. We'll pick up part 2 on the 5 pillars of leadership. We'll get into the 6 pillars of an individual, right? The 6 core areas of your life that you want to be developing these habits of a leader in. That's going to be super dope. Can't wait to share that with you guys. So do me a huge favor, man. If you have not already hit that share button, go ahead and share the stream. There's somebody who's looking to have a breakthrough in their life, and they haven't heard the power and principles of solid leadership. So share this. More importantly, there are millions of people who are onlookers into the lives of those of us who God has called to be leaders. They're suffering because the leaders that have been called are not stepping up to the plate. And sometimes they're not stepping up to the plate, not because of a lack of will, because they're not stepping up to the plate because of a lack of skills. They don't necessarily know what books to read. They don't necessarily know who to plug into. And this podcast can help them do just that. I appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in, man. Until I talk to you guys tomorrow, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.